Hi. So today I was going to switch gears for a little bit and I'm going to talk about one of the tools that I use in my arsenal for fertility. And that's because I'm trying to get pregnant again. So this is something that I do that is not talked about very often, but it's been successful for me. It's been successful for one of my friends, and I've heard a lot about it on the internet as far as it being used. And this has been around for a really long time. In fact, I'll add a link in here to a video from the 1970s about castor oil packs. That's actually pretty fun to watch. And it'll probably give you the same information. But if you want to see a video from the 70s, you can do that too. So castor oil is a vegetable oil that's been used for thousands of years for a number of different ailments. So it's got a ton of different uses. People use it for a lot of different skin conditions to get rid of stretch marks. It's a treatment for acne. I also have just started to recently use it as a moisturizer. So I'll make another video about that at some point. You can use it for chapped lips. It has anti-inflammatory benefits, so people will use it for arthritis. It also has some antifungal capabilities. People will use it in the garden. There are literally hundreds of uses for this stuff. And a really fun fact is Cleopatra used to use it in her hair and also to brighten up the whites in her eyes. So it's been around for a while as a tool to do different things. And the reason that it helps in fertility is because it does a number of things. So it will work to detoxify your reproductive organs and assist in cleansing the liver. It also tones and cleanses the uterus, which is always good. It helps to stimulate blood flow and circulation, which in turn improves lymphatic circulation. It reduces inflammation, and that's why it's a treatment sometimes for arthritis, and it can reduce fibroids and ovarian cysts. So that's why it's technically relevant for fertility. Some people also will ingest castor oil to induce labor. It's actually pretty effective, I hear, but it's not often recommended, and that's because if you're ingesting it, it irritates the uterus and that causes contractions to begin. So if for whatever reason you are absolutely desperate to give birth and you don't want to be induced, this is a very effective way. It is not recommended by most people for that, and that's at least partly because it stimulates your bowels, and you can definitely have disaster pants throughout your labor, which will be very uncomfortable for you and might also be a little bit awkward depending on where you're giving birth. So that is at least one of the reasons I know that it's definitely not recommended. Now let's go through the things that you need to have on hand. So you need to have a good castor oil. I would recommend getting something preferably organic and cold pressed, but most importantly, I think it needs to be in an opaque bottle. If it's in a clear bottle, it's going to oxidize the oil faster and it's not going to last as long. The oil itself should be a pale yellow color. So if you have some old castor oil laying around for whatever reason, if it is dark, if it's kind of like a dark yellow, throw it away, get a new oil. You would just want to use something that's good quality. It should last you 6 months to a year. So next thing is a hot water bottle. So here is what I use. Either that or a rice heating pad. You could technically use an electric heating pad, but I wouldn't, only because I do worry about EMF and putting electrical charges right near your ovaries and your eggs. I try to err on the side of caution, and I think that protecting your eggs and ovaries are a good thing to do. So next you need a piece of wool or cotton flannel. I use cotton flannel just because it's easier to find. I wouldn't use polyester. I'd try to go for 100% cotton. It's something that you could easily pick up at a fabric store, but just get a yard or two. And then what I did was I cut up some flannel to about 24 inches by 18 inches. You're going to basically fold it up and into 2 or 3 layers and then put it on your belly that way. So next is some kind of plastic. I personally prefer just a plastic bag that I cut up. This is to prevent some mess and the oil to get all over everything. So you can use saran wrap, that's fine. I don't really carry saran wrap anymore, and I find that sometimes it gets very clingy and clings to different stuff, and when you're trying to kind of maneuver, it can be a little bit tough to work with. Next, you just need a container to soak the flannel in the oil. Getting towards the bottom of the list, I would recommend getting some ratty clothes. It definitely stains your clothes and furniture. So some ratty clothes that you don't mind getting stains on, as well as some towels to protect your furniture and where you're at. I'd also get either tongs or a rubber glove. This is primarily because, this thick oil can get on everything, and it's annoying to get off as well. So it's just to help reduce the mess. Next, I'd get a mason jar. You can use a mason jar to reuse the flannel. So I just basically, once we actually create the flannel, you can put it back in there and throw it away after 6 months. And the next things I would just say I'd recommend, definitely not necessary, paper towels. You never know where the castor oil can go, so that's good to have on hand. And then since you're going to be sitting around and kind of relaxing with this oil, with this pack, water, a good book, some tea, something to relax, just something that will, if you just want to meditate, that's great too. But yeah, have something to entertain yourself if you're not so good at just sitting down and relaxing. So that's it. Let me now show you how to actually make the castor oil pack. All right, so you get your flannel or wool and you put it in your container. You're going to grab the castor oil and you're going to basically spread it all over the flannel. Ultimately, the goal is to get the soaking wet, but not dripping. A lot of times they recommend doing this the night before. I am not doing it the night before. So one of the things that I'll do is I'll put it in the oven for about, 5 or so minutes at 200 just to kind of let it absorb. And then I might end up putting a little bit more on there. I'm going to turn it over just to get it covered. And all right. So I'm going to throw it in the oven. If you are going to use an oven situation, you're going to want to make sure that it cools down a little bit before you put it on your belly. While that's heating up a little bit, I've boiled some water and I'm going to pour it into my hot water pack. All right, and you obviously want to be careful and not to burn yourself, and put the top back on. So it's a few minutes later. So I'm going to take this out and examine how this is. It's definitely getting there, although there's not very much on the edges. So I'm going to try to add a little bit more to the edges. Just so it can really soak in there. I'm going to put it back in for another minute or so. You could potentially do this in the microwave. I don't really use my microwave as a microwave. We use it for storage. So it's probably faster and more efficient in the microwave. But we use ours for snacks because I don't really like using a microwave. So I'll be back once that's soaked. All right. I think this is it. Last time. Take it out, and it looks so far to be pretty good. Yeah. So it's definitely soaked through. It's saturated. It's not dripping. This is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cool down for a little bit, and then I'm going to change my clothes to put in some garbage clothes. and then I'll go and I'll show you how to do the castor pack. Hi, I'm back. So I castor oil proofed my couch, or towels down. I changed my clothes, and I've reboiled the water for my water bottle, primarily because I did want to wait a while for the castor oil on the flannel to cool down. I have burned myself before, so ideally you want that to be cool. And I'm currently kind of keeping this open to sort of hope to maybe cool down some of the water in here for a little bit because it's still smoking, but it's fine. I'll manage. I move it around a lot anyway. One other thing, if you should avoid castor oil packs during the stims phase of an IVF. So if you're doing IVF, that's just something to note. You can do these castor oil packs, I would say 3 to 5 times a week. Some people will do every other day. Sometimes you can do like one day on your liver and then the next day on your ovaries. I'll show you what I do, but I basically alternate sort of. I move it around. I try to cover up something that covers it all, because it's a whole process to set up. So I'd rather just maximize the time that I want to spend. So the other time that you should do this is wait until your period ends and stop once you ovulate, because you don't want to do this once you are pregnant. And there is usually that 2-week window where you kind of need to figure it out. So you have about 7 to 10 days, depending on when you ovulate, after your period ends and before you ovulate. All right, so let me show you what to do. So as you can see, I am in somewhat junky clothes, and I have towels down in order to protect my couch. Wearing a rubber glove, and hopefully that is going to help. So I'm going to take the pack, and I'm going to sort of tuck it right underneath my shorts and cover my belly. Well, it doesn't really need to get up above, so maybe up to your belly button, and then sort of right where your underwear will kind of, right where your pelvic floor ends, like right over here. And then I'm going to grab the plastic. I'll put the plastic over here. And hopefully now the plastic is going to protect me. So I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to actually tuck it in. Tuck it in. And now I'll get the hot water bottle, and I'm going to put it down over here. So now you can just lay down, relax, put your feet up. You can, I usually like to sort of move it around so I get a bunch of different areas. I can get down over here. If you want to target your liver, which is a little bit more detoxifying, the liver, you can sort of move the hot water bottle to the right side. I kind of like to move it around throughout. So I'm just going to kind of hang out here for the next 30 to 45 minutes and find something to do. So that's it. It is a pain to get up once it's actually started. So yeah, have everything handy and just try to relax a little bit. Once you're done, you'll go, and if you want to rinse it off, which I recommend, you just want to use either a natural soap or a mix of baking soda and water to remove any leftover castor oil on the skin. And then you would basically take, throw away the plastic and take the flannel, throw it in a mason jar or some kind of container, and put that in like a dark closet. And then the next time you want to use it, you just need to heat up the water bottle again. So that's how I do a castor oil pack. So good luck. I hope this helps, and this is some kind of fun-ish, different way of working to improve your fertility. So let's cross our fingers, and that's it. So thanks. If you want to get more of these useful tips, please subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. Have a great day.